All right, so for the third attempt at recording something today, good morning. God bless you all. What I'm speaking on today is Proverbs 31, verse 8. So this is specifically surrounding the idea of speaking up for those who cannot speak for themselves, the destitute, the poor, those who cannot bring a voice to their defense. We are called to do that on behalf of God's mandates, on behalf of God's righteousness, on behalf of what we know to be right, and also what we know to be wrong. So the first thing that we might think about in defending those who cannot speak for themselves may be the poor and the destitute, those people we interact with, maybe even on a daily basis, who just simply do not have the same amount of, whether it be blessing or provision, that God has decided to bless us with, whether it be as Christians or just as general spiritual recipients from God, and having that foresight and understanding and that knowledge that not everyone is guaranteed. But the people who need the most when it comes to speaking up for those who do not have a voice are actually people we don't interact with, or we may never interact with. Now the difference is that there's people that go inside where I'm sitting right next to and plan on desperately praying for is people who go into Planned Parenthood, and those babies inside those mothers' wombs are the ones who do not have a voice right now that we could be speaking out for, which is why every day I'm coming here to pray. And in the very near future, I plan to also have some type of ministry surrounding this. Now, I want you to be encouraged in this too, because there is encouragement here. There's encouragement in the fact that there's a mass awakening of people who are beginning to truly fight for the rights of those who do not have a voice, those human beings who do not have a choice as to whether or not they're going to be killed. They're going to be ripped from their mother's womb and simply sold for parts. Don't believe that happens? Look it up. That's what happens. This is a money-making business. This has nothing to do with women's rights. This has everything to do with the fact that Planned Parenthood makes millions and millions of dollars off of selling fetal tissue, fetal baby parts. Look it up. There's a reason they don't tell you these things. Is because there's always some type of greed or money behind it. But I want you to know that this is something that we need to be doing, and I feel very compelled to share it publicly and proudly, that we as Christians need to stand against these abortion mills, these places of death, where God says we are to speak out for those who cannot speak for themselves and to speak up for them. So here I am speaking up for them with what little I can give as just one person, but I know that if we continue to not only share whatever content we find, or also resources that we can offer these women who may be going in there to make the worst mistake they'll ever make, there's got to be ministries that we can get involved with. There's got to be ministries that maybe even we can start, and I'm included in that and convicted by it entirely. But again, be encouraged, because there are people doing this. There is a way that God has given us to be able to reach these women, and that is to simply be there to speak to them, to show up at your local Planned Parenthood and pray that the Lord's Spirit would stop women from going in to murder their children. There is power in prayer, because you are acknowledging that you cannot do nearly as much as what God can do within His sovereign will to allow or disallow these women to make these decisions, Lord. And that's why we're here praying. We're praying so that the Lord would change hearts, that He would take a heart of stone and make it a heart of flesh. So praise God. I love you guys. Heavy Monday morning, but I think it's time to move on these things. There's way too much leniency on these things. And we're here to fight for the kingdom. That's what we do. Love you guys.